Hi there everyone, Lars back with another review and analysis for May I Ask for One Final Thing, brought to you by Camille's Harem, a channel for novice authors by novice authors, because writing is an adventure, it's way more fun with friends, and this latest episode was a fun doozy, in most part because of the incredible confession from Prince Julius that took a really odd turn there at the end.
Scarlet, dear. You are the rose I yearn to pluck. You splattered my canvas with a bright red splash of blood. You're my most beloved plaything.
But first, we need to talk about the other events that transpired in this episode, as the slavering is completely mopped up, the Prime Minister is dealt with, turned into a punching bag, both literally and figuratively, and as well, merchandisingly? Yeah, by the end, he is a punching bag that people all over the kingdom can purchase for their use and fun.
I requested that the traders around town begin stocking them if they can.
Well, Prince Julius enjoyed them, so I'm sure some others would like to give them a good wallop.
But before the Prime Minister has to eat a knuckle sandwich so lovingly prepared by Scarlet, he gets off a shot against her, which Julius steps right in the way, intercepts the bullet, and nearly dies. It's thanks to Scarlet's brother that he is brought back just in the nick of time, and this will have some serious ramifications actually for the end of the episode, and I'll explain why that is. But the Prime Minister is all trussed up, sent to prison, where he is assassinated by the pink-haired girl, Teranisia, she's got a really weird name, hence why I keep on calling her pink-haired girl, but Teranisia comes in, bewitches him with the powers of the goddess who reincarnated her within this world as she plans the downfall of Scarlet so that way she can become the ultimate heroine. And honestly, when you look at how the story's been unfolding so far, it makes you wonder, okay, lady, what exactly is your definition of a sweet, happily ever after heroine? Because you're totally not living it at this point. But the Prime Minister does himself in with some special poison, and all links to her are suddenly just expunged, except for the reference to this other god. And as we've learned, since the Prime Minister was in control of the kingdom, he was doing a lot of work to raise his personal religion, of which he was a kind of archbishop, to the forefront, although there is a far more ancient religion that a lot of the people adhere to. So we're getting the setup for the next big arc, which is going to be a kind of religious confrontation, almost nigh a crusade on Scarlet's part to just continue punching people into oblivion, all the people who've made her life and the kingdom an absolute nightmare. But really, it shouldn't be that bad for her now that she is considered to be a hero, and she is the iron-fisted savior of the kingdom. Haha! Prince Julius definitely put in his money's worth to make sure that the propaganda got that name out there. I guarantee. Scarlet's brother's A-okay with it for right now because he is absolutely assured that his sister and the prince are going to get together and get married, but lo and behold, he completely misunderstands. That's not the case. However, him bringing it up makes Julius think, you know what, I really do kind of need to seal the deal, as Strong Bad would say, and remind Scarlet how he feels and give an honest proposal. But this is where things get kind of silly. And no, it's not just because Scarlet is riding a dragon that she has stolen, nor the fact that the big cost to overusing her powers is that her hair changes color. Mary Sue much? Rather than seeing it as like a very Mary Sue trade-off to use such amazing time-altering powers, it's really more like a fuse saying if you use much more, the moment that your hair goes all completely black, something bad is going to happen. So you probably shouldn't do that. So amongst all of these crazy things and Scarlet reuniting with her friends and it's all great, Prince Julius arrives on the scene, whisks her away to propose to her in a very roundabout, odd kind of a way. And it's one of those instances where if you're just watching the show on the surface level, it makes it seem like this guy's really messed up. And to a certain extent, he is. Prince Julius is a weird, awkward turtle duck. But there's an honest reason why he doesn't just outright propose to Scarlet, even though by the end of the episode, it's kind of actually what Scarlet wants. But there is some serious miscommunication going on, and it actually harkens back to earlier in the show. Remember when Julius and Scarlet went on that little shopping date, quote unquote, and he stuffed her face with some sweet, delicious apple pie and got a chance to sit with her on the bench, and they were just talking, and he was sharing a bit of his feelings and reminiscing a bit about the past and what it was about her that really caught his eye? That was a low-key confession from him. In fact, actually, calling it low-key is the wrong word to say. The guy outright confessed. It's low-key compared to what he does in this episode, but he confessed his feelings. He likes Scarlet. He even kissed her. This puts him already leagues ahead of most anime protagonists, especially in the male realm of things. So Julius has already opened up to Scarlet, but Scarlet didn't really return those emotions in any kind of way at all. And we actually see from her perspective that it's because of her time with Prince Kyle. All of the abuse that was heaped up onto her for so long has kind of closed off her heart to the prospects of marriage, to romance in general. On top of that, Julius is Kyle's brother, so there's some kind of negative connection right there. And just the way that Julius always jokes about things makes it unclear to her whether or not she should take this confession seriously. On top of that, she's more preoccupied with beating the snot out of all the slavers and getting revenge on everyone who made her life miserable in the first episode. Now, while all of that is very understandable from Scarlet's point of view, the problem is that created a little bit of a divide between her and Julius, in that Julius is not exactly sure how Scarlet sees him. By the end of this episode, he's a little bit more sure of, okay, so she actually does like me. But let's also add, in the event of this episode, when the Prime Minister shoots him in the back, the way that Scarlet handles him and everything just comes off as more cheeky and sarcastic rather than lovingly, or I should say lovingly towards Julius, like, oh my gosh, you killed someone so important to me, now I must get revenge on you. All of that's just kind of missing in the way that she handles the whole scenario. And while Julius isn't necessarily put off by that, in fact, he actually loves the way she handles everything, it's another sign to him that, you know what, maybe she doesn't return my feelings. And if so, I really got to turn on the charm and just hope for the best. Which is then what he does in this episode. He probes what the possibility is. He has no idea how it's going to turn out, and there's a very good chance, at least in his calculations and in his experience, that this is all going to just blow up in his face. Hence why he starts off with a very loving story about his mother and father and their courtship, and the way that his father crafted this crown of roses, and how he then crafts a crown of roses for her, and how he's like, you are the one flower I wish to pluck, while I might not use that particular wording. If I wish to confess to someone that I really liked, hey, you know what? It works for him, but he then veers away because two major experiences have already told him that Scarlet doesn't exactly feel this way. This is, after all, more a probe to see exactly how she might feel because, well, the talk about engagement is out there. He does like her, so this is him testing the waters in his own way. But on top of that, there's a long history between the two of them of more of a cheeky rivalry than anything else. What ruins this confession is all of the stuff that these characters have done up until this point. It's a fine confession. It's a beautiful moment, but it's broken apart thanks to everything that these two characters are, and to what they've done, and to what their relationship has been up until this moment. Do not doubt Prince Julius's feelings. And the reason why Scarlet gets so angry is not because, oh, another horrible prince has dared to make a mockery of me. They are all alone. She was getting into it. She was feeling the vibes, the romance. But then because he veered off into his little joke there at the end, it killed the moment for her. It felt like a slap in the face. And that is why she puts on the glove and gets ready to rip him a new one.
Whenever you are by my side, the world is vibrant, a dazzling array of colors. You've painted your way into my heart.
When you made this crown for me, was love the feeling you put into it?
Love for my exceptionally amusing plaything. I'm so accustomed to seeing you punch people through all manner of objects, I nearly forgot you were a human being at all.
There is a good-for-nothing asshole standing before me. May I kindly tear him a new one?
So what I really like about this episode, and what I think is actually some great writing advice, especially for anyone who wishes to write a really good, effective romance that makes sense within the context of the story and with the characters that they've made. Don't just mush the characters together that you really want to have get together. I mean, by episode 5, we could already have Scarlet and Julius together in an open, romantic relationship. And not open romances and we get to date whoever we want, but that it's out there for the world to see that we are in love and we get along so well together because they do complement each other. They do care for each other, even with all of the teasing and snarky remarks along the way. But that possibility is actually made impossible thanks to who these characters are and the things that they have done. The author could very easily just say, yeah, this is the confession moment, and it's a good confession moment. Now the two are going to get together, they're going to be the powerhouse couple that's going to blaze through the rest of the story. But no, that actually would not work because, again, Scarlet has been burned by all of her previous experiences, including those with Julius. Julius has already shared his feelings and felt brushed off. As such, he reverts to his more jokey nature, which is just inherent for him. And that doesn't mean that these two can't come together in the future, but it requires even more work on their part, mutually, to make that relationship work out. Julius is reaching out, but then he pulls his hand back. He's got to get to the point where he can keep his hand out for Scarlet to eventually take, and Scarlet, for her part, is going to have to reckon with these feelings that she's been having as of this episode and decide if she truly wants to reciprocate them and then reach out to him in turn. That mutual coming together in order for the relationship to work. This would be the more natural progression for these characters and for the events of the story. If you got them together right now, sure, it'd be sweet and everything, but it would actually cheapen Scarlet's character and everything that we've gotten to know of her. And in a way, it would be a slight character betrayal as well for Julius, who always goes back to his more jokey nature when he feels uncomfortable with the situation or if he feels like he's not going to get out of it what he wished he could. Because again, going back to episode 3, when he gives to her the apple pie and they have their conversation on the bench, his jokiness was at the beginning, and then he bares his heart and he confesses. No jokiness there at all. That was a good proper confession, but that was, in his view, turned down. So, bringing this all together again, think about your own characters as you're writing your own romances. What have they done? What have they said? What are the consequences of their choices, their actions, their words? And how might that play into their romance either being sped up or taking longer to come about, or how it might even end a potential romance? That's something important to think about. And I can say as an author, there are times where I've toyed around with what a certain romance could be between two characters. I'm like, this would actually be a whole lot of fun to make happen. However, because of things I've already done in this story and the choices that these characters have made, it actually makes it so much harder for this romance to happen. And if I want it to happen, that means I actually have to derail my own plot and make these characters go through so much more that's kind of unnecessary just to make this romance feel logical. True, I could just smash them together, but the audience realizes when that happens. And if a romance feels illogical, especially within the context of the story, they check out, which you don't want to have happen. And the funny thing is that because Scarlet and Julius are staying absolutely true to who they are within the context of the story, it's one of the reasons why this particular scene is getting so much love and attention from people online, because it fits the story, not just because of the joke. So, with all that being said, those are my thoughts, my breakdown, review, and analysis for the latest episode of May I Ask for One Final Thing. If you've watched the episode, I want to hear your thoughts about it in the comments below. And if you'd like to support the work that we do here at Camille's Harem, please make sure that you subscribed. If you haven't already done so, click the bell icon to be notified for all of our future videos, and check out the books that we've published. Links for all of them are in the description below. And thank you so much for joining us on this crazy adventure that we call writing. And until the next video, y'all, tschüss.